So we are taking a look at Aliens Dark Descent, and first and foremost I want to thank Focus Entertainment for hooking me up with a key. They actually gave me roughly around a day's worth of early access, and I really appreciate it, especially when the video game that I'm given is a good game. And I want to let you know that even though I was given an early access free key for the game, that does not sway my opinion about the title in any way, shape or form. There are a few issues with this game from what I've played. I've played a few hours of it so far. I'm definitely going back to it. I've really enjoyed it. But these issues in the game are nothing major whatsoever. And in my few hours of playtime, there's only been 3 that have really stood out. So number 1, textures can take a while to render in during cutscenes. Number 2, some of the dialogue in the game can be a little bit on the cringy side. And then number 3, in order to heal up in this game, you need to use your skills, which is done by pressing the spacebar. And it uses an actual med kit because you've got supplies and stuff in this game. But sometimes your characters can be stuck as though they're interacting with something or like they're busy, even when they're not. There is a workaround. You can interact with an object or like a dead body or something, and you can get out of that cycle. But if you're low on health, there's a lot of aliens around you, and there's absolutely nothing to interact with. You are stuck on low HP. And this game can be really tricky. The longer you are in a mission, the more you are hunted, the tougher it gets. And I will say, I absolutely love that they've created an Alien game that is a tactical shooter that is not turn-based. So many of these tactical shooters and stuff are turn-based, and it gets a little bit irritating. Don't get me wrong, the games are really good. But I love the fact that this one is a use your right mouse button, you actually get to move your characters around. And then you have things like laying down suppressive fire and stuff like that. You've got a bunch of different skills in this game. And I would also like to say, if you're interested in picking this game up and you don't want to pay £35 for it, if you head over to CD Keys, you can get 25% off. And if you do purchase it through CD Keys, I would appreciate it if you support the channel at the same time and use the affiliate link that's in the description. So yeah, you start this off with a prologue. There's no combat whatsoever. It kind of introduces you to the aliens, and you're just learning the ropes. You're understanding the movement, how the camera works, and understanding the enemies at hand. And then after you've completed the prologue, you've got your squad together, you will unlock the Otago. That is your ship, your headquarters. That's where everything is done. Your mission deployment, your med bay for healing your wounded soldiers, squad members, whatever you want to call them. And I think that's a really good feature in this game. You can level up your Marines, you can then unlock better weapons for them, you can heal your Marines, you can go to the lab. Even though I've got some of the materials required to do lab work, there's nothing that seems to be in the lab. So I'm guessing it's further progression in the game to actually unlock lab upgrades and stuff. But then you've also got where you handle your squad. You have a squad of 4, it's a single player game, but you have a squad of 4. You start off with 10 soldiers, Marines, whatever you want to call them. They've all got their own different upgrades and stuff you can do. You level them up, they get different abilities. For an example, one of the upgrades I did to one of my Marines gave me an extra tool, which is used to weld doors closed. And then the next level you get accuracy and stuff like that. And then you also get perks, which will give your squad's members extra bravery. And that will stop them getting so stressed because there's a stress meter in the game as well. So basically, from the Otago, you deploy, you go into a mission, and the thing I really like is the first mission, I completed a couple of objectives. It got to the point where I had the bug, I couldn't heal one of my Marines, so I just basically got out of there. I retreated from the area, and then you can go back into it and you can carry on with the objectives. And I really like that. It's not just a one and done with the missions. Especially because it's a tactical shooter, it does get hard. It's nice to familiarize yourself with the layout of the levels, the spawn points and stuff like that. So yeah, you get a bunch of primary objectives, you get datapads and stuff you can pick up, you get boxes that will give you materials and everything so you can focus on upgrades and everything like that. And when I say this as a tactical shooter, it's very, very tactical. You have this armoured vehicle that comes with you into the missions. You can choose different spawn points as you go into the mission. You can move this arc around. That's what it's called, the arc, the armoured something. I can't remember its actual name. But it's basically an armoured car that's got a massive turret on it, and you can move it around the map to specific locations, and it will defend that position. Even if your squad's nowhere near, if an alien goes near it, it's going to shoot it down. It dismembers them, it kills them. It's incredibly helpful to have that around. And that's also going to be used to retreat from the mission and also extract survivors. But you go around, you've got to be very, very sneaky. There are lots and lots of enemies, even when your infestation level's low. And once you are hunted, it starts to basically progress through difficulties. And then you can get this thing called a massive onslaught, which is where you'll have a bunch of aliens coming for you. And you have to kind of fend them off to go from the massive onslaught back to not being hunted anymore. There's vents some of the aliens will sit in. There's just like so much to this game. And I never expected to get as much as what I've had from it. But I've had so much fun with this game so far. It's not just about rushing around. I think overall I've probably spent well over an hour on the first mission and I still don't have all the primary objectives done. I'm taking my time, I'm looking for the data pads, I'm looking for all the different materials and stuff you can pick up. You even get sentry guns you can place down. You've got grenade launchers you can use. You've got a shotgun blast you can do when the aliens are close range. And not only that, the game works on a day system. So you go into the mission, say you get overrun, your Marines are low on HP, you want to get back to the Ertago. What you do when you're back there is you sort out the med bay, you put your best doctors like on your wounded Marines. That will take a day off how long they have to recover. You can actually permanently lose Marines if they get abducted by the aliens, which I thought was basically it's an unfair mechanic, but it's a good one to add to the strategy and the tactical side of the game. But once you've retreated from a mission, you cannot just go straight back into another one. You have to progress through days. Each day is going to make progress towards increasing the infestation level and making it harder. So basically, do the first mission, retreat because you're low on HP, get back to the Ertago, sort everything out for your squad. Then you advance day one, and it comes up with options. You can either basically forget the bonus that you might get. So say your two choices are forget the bonus or take 50 extra materials. If you take the 50 materials, you have to advance another day. You cannot go out on a deployment. It basically removes your deployment for the 50 materials, but then you can choose to ignore that so that you can deploy on that day. After a number of days have passed, regardless of you deploying or not, you are going to increase the infestation level, which makes it even more difficult. It adds more aliens to the map and it basically increases how tough that mission is going to be. So lots and lots of strategy to this one. You've got your survivors, you've got your materials and stuff, you've got your different weapons, you've got skills and everything. And in this game, you can either right click once to walk around, or you can right click, double click, and your Marines are going to sprint. When an alien's coming towards you, if they are really, really close when they die, they basically explode and give an acid burst that's going to burn your Marines. But when you're backing up away from the aliens as you're firing, if you're walking backwards, you can still fire. Whereas if the aliens get close enough and you start sprinting away from them, you can no longer fire. And it's not just that the aliens are in specific areas in this game either. They've got the vents they can use. They do their little patrols and everything. They've got certain spawn points and stuff you can see on the map. And the map layout on this is fantastic. You do get a ping. It's known as a tracker. It's going to basically pinpoint the area that the aliens are in within a 60-meter radius, so that you have a rough idea of the whereabouts of them. But they can change their patrols up, they can sit in the vents waiting for you and stuff like that, so you cannot rush in this game whatsoever. You can try to, but you're probably going to come across a couple of aliens, which is going to increase your stress levels, it's going to lower your accuracy, it's going to cause trauma for your Marines. There's just so much depth to this. I could probably match my gameplay time in real time with a commentary discussing stuff about this game And I could probably like make this video about 2 hours long or something like that, because there is so much to it. And I'm not even far into the game whatsoever. But if you like the idea of aliens, if you like tactical shooters, if you like a little bit of strategy, this is a game that I highly, highly recommend you pick up. I've had an absolute blast with it, even though I've lost a Marine, RIP. I mean, it's actually quite stressful. Losing a Marine can be really stressful, especially when you're not too far away from the Ark. The massive onslaught, you get a timer with it. I think it's like a 30-second timer. And I started trying to run back to the Ark with about 20 seconds left to use that as extra cover, basically. And one of my Marines got abducted. But that's another thing as well, just very quickly before we wrap this up. There is a cover system in this game as well. So if you have an alien near you and it's on a patrol, you know exactly where it's going, but you feel as though your Marines are a little bit like trapped, there are some surfaces and stuff in the game that you can cover against and you can crouch so that you can stay out of the line of sight of the aliens. And there's probably a bunch of stuff that I've missed. I'm just kind of speaking off the top of my head and I'm just going through like my memory of playing the game. But yeah, I hope that's enough of an understanding that I've provided so that like basically to help you get to grips with the idea of what the game's about, what you're going to be doing. There's basically a bunch of objectives you've got to do. Survivors, finding materials and stuff like that. And you've got to try your very hardest to keep your squad alive at the same time. You've got a limited number of Marines. And I mean, when you get later in the game and it gets much, much harder, if you've got a high-level Marine and you lose them in battle, yeah, that's going to get really, really frustrating. So strategy and tactics definitely come into this one. And on that note, we are going to leave the video there. If you enjoyed it, leaving a like is appreciated. If you wish to support me further as a creator, there are links in the description. Let me know your thoughts about the video in the comments. And if you want to watch more, you can click the video on screen. All support on the channel is greatly appreciated and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching.